Hogwarts, School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, a magical book decides if you're worthy. In Africa, the headmaster appears in your dreams. And in Japan, you might start wizard school at 7 years old. The wizarding world has 11 major magical schools, but almost none of them recruit students the same way. Starting with Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. Even though you've read the books, seen the movies, and even suffered through that god-awful play, you might be surprised to hear the admission process for Hogwarts begins long before any child receives a letter. Hidden somewhere inside the school is a large enchanted ledger called the Book of Admittance, alongside a magical feather known as the Quill of Acceptance. These two objects function as the wizarding world's earliest known magical admissions system, which together might as well be called the pen and paper of mind-numbing bureaucracy. They monitor magical activity across Britain and Ireland and determine whether a child demonstrates sufficient magical ability to qualify for a place at the school. Rumor has it the system runs on the same technology as Father Christmas's naughty or nice list. The Quill of Acceptance reacts the moment a young witch or wizard performs their first strong sign of uncontrolled magic. Children in the wizarding world often show accidental magic when emotional. Things like nappies flying across rooms, toys vanishing, and parents having a sudden, irresistible urge to take their kids to McDonald's are common occurrences when magic babies are around. When this happens, the Quill attempts to write the child's name into the Book of Admittance. However, the process has a second layer of scrutiny. The Book of Admittance is extremely strict and will snap shut if the magical evidence is weak or ambiguous. This prevents borderline cases from being admitted and ensures that only children with genuine magical ability are recorded. According to wizarding lore, the Quill sometimes tries repeatedly to write a name while the book stubbornly refuses to allow it. Only when a child's magic is undeniable does the book finally stay open long enough for the Quill to finish writing the name. Once a child's name is successfully recorded, they are automatically placed on Hogwarts' list of future students. And then, nothing. Nada. Zip. The book simply stores the name until the child approaches the correct school age. At age 11, the school begins the next step of the process. Official notification. A letter of acceptance is delivered to the student's home by owl. If it were my school, there would also be rejection notices sent through the sewer via alligator. Imagine the horror of seeing an alligator crawling out of your toilet, and holding mail no less. This acceptance letter explains that the child has been accepted to Hogwarts and includes a detailed list of required school supplies. The list typically contains items such as robes, textbooks, a wand, a cauldron, and other magical equipment necessary for first-year classes. Students from magical families usually already understand what the letter means and will travel with their parents to purchase supplies in Diagon Alley. Children raised in non-magical families, however, require additional onboarding. In these cases, a Hogwarts professor personally visits the household to explain the existence of the wizarding world and help the family navigate the process. This prevents confused Muggle parents from assuming the letter is some elaborate prank involving owls and medieval stationery. After purchasing supplies, students prepare for the journey to the school. On the 1st of September, they travel to London's King Cross station and run through the wall between platforms 9 and 10 to reach platform 9 3/4. There, they board the Hogwarts Express, a magical steam train that transports all first-year students to the school in Scotland. Upon arrival at Hogwarts, first-year students are greeted and escorted across the lake to the castle. The final stage of onboarding is the sorting ceremony, where each student is placed into a house using an enchanted cap that looks more like the poop emoji than something you want on your head, called the sorting hat. The hat reads the students' personality traits, ambitions, and values before assigning them to Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw, or the evil one. At that point, the admissions process is officially complete. The student has moved from magical child detected by a sentient book to fully enrolled wizarding student. Uagadou School of Magic. Admission to Uagadou School of Magic follows a process completely different from the owl-based system used in Britain. Uagadou is located in the Mountains of the Moon in East Africa and serves students from across the African continent. Because of its enormous geographic reach, the school developed a notification system that does not rely on physical mail, couriers, or magical birds carrying envelopes across thousands of miles. The process begins the same way it does for Hogwarts. Although the exact detection mechanism used by Uagadou has never been described in detail, the school clearly tracks magical children across the region in some way, because invitations arrive only for those with confirmed magical potential. Instead of receiving a letter, accepted students are contacted through what the wizarding world calls dream messengers. not to be confused with Dream Warriors, the third film in A Nightmare on Elm Street series. At some point before the child reaches school age, the future student experiences a vivid dream in which a messenger from Uagadou appears. The messenger is often described as either a representative of the school or the head teacher themselves, although the exact identity may vary. The dream is not symbolic or metaphorical. It is a magical communication specifically intended to notify the student of their acceptance. During the dream, the messenger informs the child that they have been admitted to Uagadou and that they will soon begin magical education. Unlike a typical dream that fades upon waking, this experience leaves behind physical proof. I remember when I started puberty. I had dreams that left behind physical proof all the time, but you don't want to hear about that. When the child wakes up, they find a small inscribed token in their hand. This object is usually described as a stone, bearing the school's symbol. The presence of the stone confirms the dream was not simply imagination, but a legitimate magical message from the school. This token effectively functions as Uagadou's version of the Hogwarts acceptance letter. It serves as both confirmation of admission and a physical identifier connecting the student to the school. Families who already belong to the magical community immediately recognize the token and understand its significance. For families unfamiliar with magic, the situation likely raises a number of questions, like, what are you on? And can I get some? By and large, though, the wizarding world does not appear overly concerned about explaining the logistics of magical dream communication to confused parents. Once accepted, students eventually travel to the school itself, which is hidden high within a mountainside. Uagadou is the largest wizarding school in the world, meaning students come from vast distances across Africa. The exact transportation method used by new students is not fully documented, but they ultimately arrive at the mountain fortress where their magical education begins. The school is known for its unique curriculum, particularly its emphasis on wandless magic, a discipline that many African wizards are famous for mastering. Because wandless magic is taught from an early stage at Uagadou, students often develop a style of spellcasting that differs significantly from the wand-focused traditions seen at schools like Hogwarts. At that point, the admission process concludes. Ilvermorny School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. Admission to Ilvermorny School of Witchcraft and Wizardry follows a process that is partially similar to Hogwarts, but diverges once students actually arrive at the school. Ilvermorny is the primary wizarding school serving North America and is located on Mount Greylock in Massachusetts. Because of its large territory, the school must track magical children across the United States and surrounding regions. The process begins, once again, when a child demonstrates accidental magic, which in America could mean anything from adjusting the thermostat from across the room after a parent says, "If you're cold, put on a hoodie," to accidentally levitating someone's gun. In the North American wizarding community, these magical incidents are monitored and recorded so that the young witches and wizards who survive can be identified before they reach school age. Once a child's magical ability is confirmed, their name is eventually placed on Ilvermorny's list of future students. The exact magical mechanism used to detect children, whether Ilvermorny uses a registry, a magical object, or lots of lucky guesses, has never been publicly explained. What is known is that the system works reliably enough that magical children across North America are consistently identified and contacted. When the child approaches the appropriate age for magical education, Ilvermorny sends an official letter of acceptance to the student's home. This letter confirms that the child has been admitted to the school and provides the information necessary to prepare for attendance. Much like the Hogwarts system, the letter serves as the formal notification that the student will begin magical training. Students then prepare for their journey to Mount Greylock. Because the school draws students from across an enormous geographical area, transportation methods vary widely. Some students arrive accompanied by their firearms, families, through magical travel, while others use transportation arranged by the wizarding community. The precise logistics are not standardized, but the destination is always the same, Ilvermorny Castle. Upon arrival at the school, the most important step in the onboarding process takes place inside the entrance hall. At the center of the hall lies a Gordian knot symbol embedded on the floor. New students are instructed to stand on this knot while the school's house selection ritual begins. Instead of a single talking hat declaring where students belong, Ilvermorny uses 4 enchanted wooden statues, each representing one of the school's houses. These statues are positioned around the hall and react magically to the student standing on the knot. Each statue has a unique response. The horned serpent statue causes the crystal embedded in its forehead to glow with light. The wampus statue lets out a powerful roar. The thunderbird statue spreads or beats its wings. The puckwudgie statue lifts its arrow into the air. If only one statue reacts, the student is placed into that house. Occasionally, more than one statue responds. In those cases, the student is given the unusual privilege of choosing between the houses that selected them. This ritual completes Ilvermorny's admission and house assignment process. Mahoutokoro School of Magic. Admission to Mahoutokoro School of Magic begins earlier than most wizarding schools. Mahoutokoro is located on the volcanic island of Minami Iwo Jima in Japan and serves magical students from across the country. Unlike schools such as Hogwarts or Ilvermorny, which typically begin accepting students around age 11, Mahoutokoro begins magical education much earlier. Children accepted to Mahoutokoro begin attending the school at approximately 7 years old. This makes it the earliest starting age among the known major wizarding schools. The reason for this early entry is likely tied to the school's demanding magical curriculum and the expectation that students will develop advanced magical control over a longer period of study. The exact method used to detect magical children in Japan has never been fully described in canon sources. Rumors range from a roving gang of wizard-sniffing ninjas to an enchanted karaoke machine that displays the names of future witches and wizards instead of song lyrics. Once a child is identified and reaches the appropriate age, they are admitted to Mahoutokoro and begin attending classes. Unlike many other schools where students immediately live at the school, Mahoutokoro has a distinctive early-stage system designed for younger children. For the first several years, younger students do not live at the school full-time. Instead, they commute daily from their homes. Transportation is handled by a flock of large magical seabirds known as storm petrels. These birds fly the students from their homes to the island each day and return them at the end of their lessons. While this may sound slightly impractical for modern commuting standards, it apparently functions well within the wizarding world. As students grow older and their magical training becomes more advanced, they transition into full boarding at the school's mountaintop castle. By this stage, they spend extended periods living on campus and participating fully in the school's academic life. Another distinctive feature of Mahoutokoro's admission and progression system involves the students' enchanted robes. When students first arrive, they're given magical robes that change color over time. These robes gradually shift through different shades depending on the student's academic progress and magical development. If a student begins experimenting with dark magic or engages in forbidden magical practices, the robes can turn white. If they fail to make it to the bathroom in time, the robes turn brown. In Mahoutokoro's system, this color change acts as a visible warning sign that the student may be violating magical laws or consuming too much curry. While this is technically part of student monitoring rather than admission itself, it forms an important part of the school's overall educational framework. Durmstrang Institute. Admission to Durmstrang Institute is widely regarded as one of the most secretive enrollment systems among the major wizarding schools. Durmstrang serves magical communities across northern and eastern Europe and is located somewhere in the far north of the continent. Although the exact location of the school is deliberately kept hidden from outsiders and bill collectors. Durmstrang has historically applied much stricter cultural criteria than many other wizarding schools, as well as a healthy dollop of racism. One of the most well-known characteristics of Durmstrang is its long-standing reluctance to admit students who are born to non-magical parents. In other words, it's a school for wizard supremacists. Because of this reputation, many students admitted to Durmstrang come from established wizarding families within the regions it serves. These families are already connected to the magical community and are familiar with the school's traditions and expectations. In practical terms, this means that the path to Durmstrang often involves family awareness and existing ties within the wizarding world rather than a completely automatic detection system like the one used at Hogwarts. After admission is confirmed, students travel to the remote Durmstrang Castle. Because the school's location is intentionally concealed, transportation arrangements are handled carefully. Students who arrive for international events, such as the TD Bank Verizon Tri-Wizard Tournament, are known to travel by a large magical ship capable of moving through water and emerging near the destination. This ship is believed to be one of the transportation methods used by the school. Upon arrival, students are enrolled into the school community and begin their magical training. Durmstrang's curriculum differs from many other wizarding institutions because the school has historically included instruction in aspects of the dark arts, magical disciplines that are often restricted or discouraged elsewhere because they are, let me check my notes here, evil. As for Beauxbatons Academy of Magic, Castello Bruxo, and Koldovstorets, the wizarding world has revealed surprisingly little about how their admissions actually work. All three schools are confirmed to serve large regions, Beauxbatons educating France and several neighboring Western European countries, Castello Bruxo drawing magical children from across Central and South America, and Koldovstorets serving the Russian wizards. But being accepted into a wizarding school usually isn't random. In many cases, it depends on Vin Diesel's favorite thing, family. Because across the wizarding world, powerful magical bloodlines are connected through generations of witches and wizards inbreeding. And once you start looking at those connections, you realize something strange. Some of the most important characters in the entire story are tied together through family trees most fans never even notice. So let's break down all the family trees in Harry Potter explained.